Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a very exciting video because I'm going to be doing my mid-year unhaul. So I was on my Notion page because that is how I track all of the books that I have bought, what I have on my bookshelf, what I have on my physical TBR, the books that I've read, the books that I've bought, all of my book statistics I have on my Notion page. And when I was on Notion recently, I was looking at my 2026 bookshelf, and I actually have a chart on my 2026 bookshelf that shows me how many physical books I currently own and the percentage of them that are read or unread. So I saw that I have 329 books currently, and 28.6% of them are unread. And I was perusing all of the books that I currently have on my bookshelf, and there are several books that I either have read that I have no intention of doing a reread on, or that I have not read, and they have been on my bookshelf for quite a while, and I have had no desire to pick them up. And so I decided to pull all of those books here, and we're just going to do a unhaul. I will be taking all of these books to secondhand bookstores to turn in, and that way someone else could enjoy these books instead. So let's just go ahead and dive into all of the books that I'm going to be doing an unhaul for 2026 so far. I'll do an end of year unhaul at the end of the year, but this is my mid-year. So the first book that I'm going to be unhauling, I have read, and this was the Leigh Bardugo, The Familiar. I listened to this on Audible because I physically could not make myself read it. One, I think it follows a woman who is Hispanic in nature, if I'm remembering correctly. And there were some instances that they were speaking in a different language. And I don't know what it was. I just could not force myself to read this physically. So I had to get this on Audible. And so I listened to it, and I think it ended up giving this like a 3-star. I have no desire to read this again. So I'll be dropping this off. The second book that I'm going to unhaul, I also have read, and that is Your Blood, My Bones. This is a special edition. I don't remember if I got this on like a book box. I want to say I did. And I think this is a series. Maybe? I think it is a series. I read this. It was okay. It has really pretty art in it, but it says a girl who will not love, a boy who cannot die, a twisted destiny neither can escape. The story was interesting. It was a story about a girl who goes back to her house that she grew up in after her father died and left it to her in her inheritance. And there's a boy who cannot die there. And she knew him when she was kids. So this had like a past present timeline, if I'm remembering correctly. It was okay. It has multiple POVs. It's got a couple of different, like 2 brothers and her. And it was okay. I'm never going to want to read it though. I'm also not going to want to continue the series. So I'm just going to unhaul it. Then I have a couple mysteries. I have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is a good mystery. But with mysteries, unless they're like just so, like they hook me so bad, I'm not going to want to reread mysteries. So I do have A House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. And then I also have Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Read both of these and they were good. I didn't dislike them, but I also am never going to want to read them again. So unhauling those. Then I also have Lessons in Chemistry, which I also read. I love this. The first 5 books that I am unhauling, I have read, but know that I'm never, ever, ever going to reread them, and I had no desire to keep them on my bookshelf. So I did read Lessons in Chemistry. This is I think they're making it into a TV series, if I'm remembering correctly, or a movie, but it's about a woman who is a really, really, really smart scientist, and she ends up getting pregnant out of wedlock, and she loses her job because, her bosses found out that she was pregnant out of wedlock, because this was back in like the 60s or something, I think. or 50s and 60s, something like that. And then she ends up becoming like a host for a cook show. But they want it to be very, she's the perfect homebody mom, but she's actually not married. She has a kid now. And it had the sexism that I just don't know if I could handle. Way back in the 50s and 60s, it was ridiculous, the things that people said to her and how they treated her. But overall, it was a really good book. I just have no desire to read it again. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. And then we have 2 books by the same author that I have had forever, never read. We have The League of Gentlewomen Witches and then The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. Both of these are by India Holton. I had these for years now at this point, and I keep saying that I'm going to read them during the fall Halloween time frame, but I never do. So we're just gonna get rid of them. If I want to read these, if I want to have a fall Halloween read, I'll get them from the library. They don't need to take up space on my bookshelf. So I did not read those, but I will be getting rid of them. Another book that I bought specifically for fall/Halloween time is Not the Witch You Wed by April Asher. I don't know when I read this or when I purchased this, but it has been several years and I've not once picked it up. So we're just going to go and drop it off at a secondhand bookstore. Next book I have read. This is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. There are some people who adore V.E. Schwab. I thought this book could have been 100 to 150 pages shorter, and I probably would have liked it. There were so many scenes in this book that it didn't really do anything to the plot. It was just following along with these women throughout hundreds of years, and you saw them in situations and them kind of evolving and growing and things, but I didn't see the point in it. There were just so many stories that I was just I don't care. Let's go to the next part. Let's see what happens next. I don't need the in-depth of some of these scenes. So didn't care for it. And I'm probably not going to be reading another V.E. Schwab book, but I don't know. I just didn't care for this one at least. And I also did read The Secret Life of Addie LaRue. I think that's what it's called. Invisible Life. I always say The Secret Life. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I also read that. And I felt like the same thing. You're following along with a character throughout hundreds of years. And there were some parts that I was just I don't care. We could have skipped this whole chapter. Move along. And that's how I felt with this one. So I'm going to be turning this in. I'm definitely not going to want to read that. And then I went back and forth. I think I am going to get rid of these books. I'm not going to want to reread them. I do want to read, there is a new book, the third, this is a trilogy. The last book comes out, I think, this year, but I don't think I'm going to buy it. I think I'm going to get it from the library or from Libby. I don't think I'm going to physically purchase it because I have had Hellbent and Ninth House on my bookshelf. I have read both of them. They were both it was an audiobook that I had to do to read both of these books. I had to do it through audio because I don't know what it is. I couldn't keep my attention for me to read them just physically. I had to have the audiobook handy, and I'm definitely not going to want to reread these. I'm never going to want to physically pick these up to read them. So I'm just going to get rid of them. And then when the third book does come out, I'm just going to have to get it through the library or through Libby. I don't need to physically own the third book. Then I have The Vampire Diaries. This is the first 2 books of the Vampire Diaries series. I bought this about a year ago, I think, because I wanted to dive back into Vampire Diaries. I have watched The Vampire Diaries up to the point where Elena goes to college. Once I get to college, I've lost all motivation to continue the series, and I've never once finished the series completely. I've read it, I've watched it multiple times up to college, and then that's it. But I decided I wanted to read the book, and I got through a quarter of the first book, and I couldn't. TV show, much better. I could not make myself read this book. And so I kept it hoping that maybe I will have the desire to try it again. And I never have. So I'm getting rid of this because no thank you. The next book is A Fragile Enchantment. I did read this. I thought about keeping this mostly just because I liked the cover. It's got really pretty like covers, and it's a special edition that I got, I think, from Owl Crate, I think. And I never want to read it again. I thought I was going to like this because I like Bridgerton, and this kind of has very much Bridgerton vibes with a hint of like magic. And it took me a while to read this. I finally did. It was a decent book, but it's never anything I'm going to want to go back to. So I'll be dropping it off, even though it is a beautiful copy. There's no need for me to keep it. Then I have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I have not read this. However, I would keep this on my bookshelf if it was not the mass market paperback. This itty bitty paperback. This is normal. This is the mass market. I don't like mass market paperback books. That is my pet peeve. I absolutely hate this. If I could find this on a big copy, I would still own it because I do want to read this. I've heard it's really, really, really good. It's got a very interesting premise for the magic system. And this is one of Brandon Sanderson's few books that is not part of a series. And I would love to read this. I don't like this copy. I don't like how small this is. So I will be getting rid of this, but if I do end up finding this in regular copy, I will be purchasing it. Because I do have a Brandon Sanderson shelf, and I would like to include this on it because I also would like to read it. Not in addition to keeping it on my shelf, I would like to read this because I've heard it's a really good book. I just can't keep this copy. It irks me like nails on a chalkboard, this size book. Hence, this is also the reason why I'm getting rid of this one. Both of these are mass market paperback. I have read Tolkien's The Hobbit. I did read it. I absolutely hated reading it on this copy, but I did read it. And while it was an okay book, I would not purchase this again. Even if it was a regular copy, I just don't care I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, honestly. I just wanted to read The Hobbit just to refresh my memory because I did watch, I think, all of the Lord of the Rings series like 15, 20 years ago. Been a while, but I did watch it. And so I felt like I wanted to read The Hobbit. And so I found this at a used bookstore for $4, read it. It was okay, but I don't want to keep this anymore. I don't want to keep it. So dropping that off. And now we have Legendborn by Tracy Dawn. This I think is a trilogy. This is book 1. Never read it. Been on my shelf for probably 3 years now. It had to have been like 3 years. It's been on my shelf for 3 years, and every single time I try to find a book to read, I never, ever, ever even come close to picking this up. I don't know what it is. I've heard this is a good trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. I've heard this is a good series. I just have no desire to read it. So I'm just going to drop this off. If it's been 3 years and I haven't tried once to pick it up, I'm not going to pick it up. So we're just going to get rid of it. Next book is Sorcery of Thorns. I did read this. I did like this. This is a book about a woman who is like a librarian, I think. I think that was a librarian. But there's like magic, or there's stuff that's happening in the library and things go awry. And it was good. I did like it. I think I read it probably 3 years ago. And it was interesting. I'm never going to read it again. It's been on my bookshelf since I read it. I thought that's great. And I put it back on my bookshelf. Never once wanted to pick it up or try to do a reread. And there's nothing special about this book to me. So there wasn't a need for me to keep it. So we're going to get rid of it. Then I have 2 books by Alicia Thompson. I have Love in the Time of Serial Killers and With Love from the Cold War. I got these both from a used bookstore. And I thought I was going to immediately want to pick them up. Specifically this one, Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I don't know what it is. It just seemed really interesting to me when I saw the cover. And then I love the art style of both of these books. But I think I've had them for over a year now. And just like with Legendborn, every single time I've thought about picking up a book to read, I have never once even had an inkling to pick up either one of these books. So we're going to get rid of them. And if I decide, specifically like in wintertime, because this gives me wintertime vibes, I'll just get it from the library. I need to start using the library more. There is no need for me to have this many books, specifically books that I don't know if I'm going to like. There's no need for me to purchase them. unless it is a die-hard must-have author, like if it's an auto-buy author, then yes, I will buy them, even if I haven't read them. But there's no need for me to buy all these books if I don't know if I'm going to like them. So I have 2 books by Katie Robert. This is Neon Gods, which is book 1. This follows, it's like the gods retelling. So this one follows Hades and Persephone. Yes, Hades, Persephone. I did read this. It is a spicy good time. Really did enjoy this, but again, I'm never going to want to read it. And then this one is book 2, I think. And this one I have not read. This one was going to follow Psyche and Eros. I don't know either one of those gods. And I think that's probably why I've never wanted to read it. I love the story of Hades and Persephone, which is why I did read this one. But I've had both of these on my bookshelves for quite a while. I've never wanted to read them. And if I feel like I want to pick up another Katie Robert book, I'll just get it from the library. So I'm just going to turn these back into the used bookstore so someone else can enjoy them instead. Next book I have is Addicted to You. This is by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the first book of the, what series is this? I don't remember. The Addicted series. I think, yeah, the Addicted series. This is the first book. This follows Lily and Lo, I think. Yeah, Lily and Lo. They both have their own little vices. Lily is addicted to sex. Lo is addicted to alcohol. And it's their like relationship. And it's the beginning of, and I guess the other like sisters and friends have their own stories in this as well. I read book 1 and it was good. I did like it, but I have no desire to pick up book 2. And specifically, I don't feel like I need to own it. So I'm not going to own it. I'm going to turn it in. And if I decide I want to finish the Addicted series, I'll just get it off of Libby or the library. Next book I have is, I actually have a few. I have 2 Christina Lauren books that I just don't want to keep. I did read The Unhoneymooners. I did like it. It was funny. Apparently I have 1 page flagged. I don't know why, but I did like this one. It was a funny little romance, but I don't need to keep it. So I'll take this flag out because there's no need for me to turn in a copy that has a flag on it. And then the other book that I've had for a while. It's actually been on my TBR for quite a few months, hoping I would read it, and I never do. This is Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I've heard it's a really cute little romance, but I don't need to have the physical copy of it. I can read this on Libby or get it from the library. So I don't need to keep this. I am keeping one of Christina Lauren's books. I do have Love in Other Words. I'm only keeping that copy. I did read it. I love the cover. I love the cover art, and I can see me wanting to reread that because I did like Love in Other Words. So I am keeping that copy. But the other 2 Christina Lauren books that I have here, I'm not going to keep. Oh, I also have another Christina Lauren. Oh, I had one more. I have Christina Lauren in a Holidays. I have not read this, but again, I can get it from the library. If I feel like reading a Christmas book, I'll just get this from the library during Christmas time or off of Libby. I have not read it, but I don't need to keep this. So this is the other Christina Lauren book I am going to get rid of. Then I have Annabelle Monaghan's Summer Romance. I read 2 of her books. I read Summer Romance, and then I think there was one more. Did I read Same Time Next Summer? I think I might have read that one also. But this one I purchased because people were raving about this book, and I did like it. It did resonate a little bit with me because this is a story about a grown woman that has kids. Her mother passed away a couple years ago, which my mother passed away several years ago as well. I'm a grown woman. I have a couple of kids. The thing that I do not have in common was she is just now going through a divorce. I am still married, and I will be married. My husband cannot get rid of me. It is following her trying to feel like she can get her personality back, like who she was before her mother passed away and before she became married. Like she lost her identity. And this was a story about her trying to find her identity and get her personality and who she is as a person back. So I did like that aspect because a lot of these like romances in some of these books are so unrealistic that you don't Like, it doesn't resonate with the reader, me specifically, because I don't know how anybody else feels. But I don't feel connected to some characters in books because it's not my life. This felt I felt I could understand where she is coming from. And I did like this, but I'm not going to want to read it again. And there's not enough connection to this book to make me want to keep it on my bookshelf. So I'm going to get rid of it. But if you are looking for a good book, this is a really good book. I really did enjoy it. I just don't need to keep it. And then I have decided that there are certain authors that I enjoy reading, but I do not need their books on my bookshelf. One of them is Tessa Bailey, and I already did an unhaul on all of the books that I had of hers. I think last year or a year and a half ago, something like that. I did do an unhaul of a lot of her books, and I like reading Tessa Bailey, but I don't need to own them because I'm never going to want to read those books again. I have come to the conclusion that I feel the same way with Ali Hazelwood books. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ali Hazelwood books that I do not need to keep on my bookshelf. And so I'm just going to donate them to the used bookstore. So the first book I have is Not in Love. I did read this, and this one was okay. I think this was a story about a woman who ends up dating, or has something to do with the guy who's purchasing her company, like buying out her company. They like hook up, I guess, once, and then she comes to find out that he's actually taking over her company. It was okay. I don't think there was anything negative on this book. If I'm remembering correctly, there was nothing that I disliked, but I also have never wanted to pick this up again. So I have Not in Love. I have Love Theoretically. This one I did read. Could not tell you a thing about it. I don't know. A lot of Ali Hazelwood books are STEM related. So they're all about science and math and that type of thing, the STEM education path. And I don't remember what this one was. It's got fake dating. I do not remember what this was about, but I read it. Obviously, I've never wanted to pick it up, so I'm going to rid of it. Then I have Love Hypothesis. This was, I think, the first book of Ali Hazelwood's that I did read. This is also becoming a TV show or a movie. And I did read this. This was originally like a fanfic reboot, sort of. It was supposed to be the Kylo Ren, I think. Obviously, I don't know that much about it, but I don't remember. This is another fake dating, and she's a scientist. I think he's a professor. Yeah, he's a professor. I don't know. I read it. It was good. I will watch the movie for this, but I'm never going to want to read the book again. Then I have Loathe to Love You. These are novellas. I never read it. It's got Under One Roof, Stuck With You, and Below Zero. I think those are the 3 novellas that are in here. I never read this, but I never wanted to read it, so we're going to get rid of it. Then I have Deep End. I did read this, I think, within the last 12 months or so. This, I felt the only thing that sticks out to me was I thought this was going to have a lot more swimming in it, but it didn't. She's supposed to be a professional diver. Yeah, she's a platform diver, and he's the swim captain of an all-around aquatics. I really don't remember. I don't remember what the deal was with him. She was a platform diver though. But I thought with this, with the cover and then the edges, I thought this was gonna have a lot more diving in it, but it didn't. That's the only thing that sticks out to me. Nothing fancy, nothing amazing, nothing horrible, but I have no desire to read it. Then the only other 2 books of Ali Hazelwood's that I could see me potentially keeping, but even if I kept them, I don't think I would actually ever do a reread on them, is Mate and Bride. So Bride is book 1, and it's a story about a vampire who gets married to, or gets hooked up with a alpha werewolf. And obviously vampires and werewolves don't mix, and she's a vampire, but she's also a vampire in like this, I think she's part of the royal family of vampires, if I'm remembering correctly. I really don't remember. But this is the first book. The thing that I didn't like about her is her name is Misery. I don't know why that irks me so much, but it does. But there's Misery. And then in this book, on the werewolf side, you do get introduced a little bit to the werewolf that's in Mate. And then you also, I don't remember if I think you do. You do get introduced to Serena, who is friends with Misery. Serena is a hybrid in this book. So she is part human, part werewolf. So she is the very first of her kind hybrid, and she ends up becoming the mate. She does not know it though, to a alpha in a different like group than what this alpha is. So they're like part of the same world, but they're both in two different packs. So this is the alpha of a different pack, and he ends up mated to the hybrid. He knows it. She doesn't. He also doesn't like that he's mated to her. And then she ends up getting hunted by the vampires because she is a hybrid, and they're hunting her so that way they can try to figure out how she became a hybrid, how she's alive, and all that kind of stuff. So he's protecting her from the vampires, but they are very much kind of interconnected standalone type series. So that is Bride and Mate. Read both of them, enjoyed both of them, never wanted to pick them up again. Even when the next book comes out of the series, I think another one's coming out, I'm just never going to want to try to read this again. So we're going to get rid of it. And that is all of the books that I'm going to be unhauling. So let me count how many they are. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 132, 33 books of my 329. So I'm getting rid of 10% of my bookshelf. And what is left now are a lot of the books that I would either see me rereading, I really did like, and even if I don't want to do a reread on them, I still want to keep them on my bookshelf, or I'm keeping them on my bookshelf for maybe my daughter, because I do have a middle grade section to see if my daughter would want to read them. So I'm getting rid of 10% of my books, which is great. And yeah, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please make sure you do so. And then in the comments down below, let me know if all of these books that I'm getting rid of, if there are any books that you would recommend that I need to read. I'm going to still get rid of them. But if you have any suggestions of these books that I should go ahead and try to look at getting off of Libby or the library, drop me a comment down below so I can try to put that on my list of books to reserve, because maybe I will find some other really good books, but hopefully they won't be books that I feel like I have to have, because I would hate to go and buy a book that I just now get rid of. But you know what? If it's an amazing book, maybe I'll buy it again. But let me know down below if there's any of these books that I should read, because they're really good. And with that, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.